From now on, if you are selling on Amazon US, you must have liability insurance to be able to sell your products in this marketplace. In this video, you will learn what are the requirements for such insurance, when exactly you need to get one, and how to find a good insurance company and sign a contract with them so you have the best insurance possible.
Hi Amit, I'm really happy that you are joining me here today to talk about insurance topic for Amazon sellers and share your knowledge about it. So before we go to today's discussion, could you first introduce yourself and also let us briefly know what Spott is and how do you help Amazon sellers?
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. My name is Amit. I'm the co-founder of Spott, and we do insurance for e-commerce businesses. This is something that we've been working on for the last 2 years, working with Amazon sellers, Shopify sellers, Walmart sellers, and finding insurance for them. And I'm happy to be here and talk about insurance.
Okay, very good. So I think we can start from the very beginning why this insurance topic is important for Amazon sellers. And maybe my first question to you would be, is insurance something that Amazon sellers have been always needed to have because of Amazon requirements, or is it something that we lately just hear more about?
Yeah, so the answer is double yes. So Amazon sellers need insurance for 2 reasons. First one, Amazon requires it. So starting September last year, they made it mandatory for all Amazon sellers to have liability insurance in place. Why? Courts in the US started ruling that if something is purchased on Amazon's platform, then Amazon is liable for all the damages that are caused by this product. And Amazon, being Amazon, they said, okay, we understand. Now, if you want to sell as a third-party seller on my platform, I must be part of your insurance policy, and this insurance policy must be uploaded to Amazon, and then you have a green light to basically continue and sell. So that's one reason, and we can deep dive into why they did it and how do you actually upload it, etc. But I think that there's something even more interesting here. As a seller, you need to remember that at the end of the day, you have a business. And this business, you have incomes and revenues, and you have expenses. And in many cases, there are correlations, right? So the more you advertise, the more you spend money. The more purchases you have, the more revenue you have. But some things can sometimes happen and completely take your business out. And one of these things is a lawsuit. So let's say that you sell hair dryers, okay? And all of a sudden, one of your customers used the hair dryer and their house caught fire and was burned to the ground. They can actually sue you. They can sue you for all the physical damage, all the property damage that were caused to them. And all of a sudden, you might need to find yourself paying $1 million for a customer just for one faulty product. And this is something that you want to avoid no matter what, because it's no longer, is it part of my income or expenses? All of a sudden is, okay, do I, Amit, as a seller, need to get the money from somewhere out of pocket and pay the customer? So no matter what, you want to avoid this scenario, and having liability insurance in place is probably the best and easiest way to do that.
So did I understand correctly that this requirement applies to all sellers, no matter what products they sell or in which product categories they are in?
Yes, with one little nuance. So it's mandatory if you cross the $10,000 a month, even once. So even if during December you cross it once, that's it. From now on and forever, you must have liability insurance in place. This is the requirement on Amazon. On Walmart, you need to have it from day one. Wayfair from day one. Other platforms, you have different requirements. But once you cross the $10,000, that's it. You need insurance.
So basically, Amazon in their Seller Central, they allow sellers to start selling, upload the the products. But then the sellers have to be kind of ready that if the product starts really selling and they go over that threshold, then Amazon actually requires the document. And you mentioned before that this is something that Amazon sellers have to upload to Seller Central. So can you give us a brief overview of that as well?
Of course. So when you get a policy, you together with it, you get something called COI, Certificate of Insurance. And this Certificate of Insurance lists some of the things that appear in your policy. For Amazon, there are a few things that are important that will be there. One, there are minimum coverage dollar amount that you need to have there, which is on Amazon $1 million. Second, like I said, Amazon must be listed there as an additional insured. So there is the exact legal entity name of Amazon and the address and everything. It has to be there. So this is the second thing. And the third thing is that everything in your store must be covered under this policy. So you cannot sell kitchen knives and cutting boards in your store, but only insure the cutting boards, right? You need to have everything insured. So Amazon require to upload this COI, they review it, and in most cases, they approve it, and everything is fine. So.
But do you know what sellers need to do? For example, if they get the insurance, they have the insurance for all of the products they're selling right now. But let's say in the beginning of next year, they are adding, let's say, new products under a new product category. So is there a chance how to add new products under the existing policy?
So yes, but this is a discussion actually not with Amazon, but with the insurance carriers that they work with, or with their insurance broker. At Spott, for example, this is one of the things that we do automatically for you. We make sure that whatever you sell is under the policy, and if something changes, we'll let you know, and we work on it. But in any case, if you start selling something that's completely different, and you can apply logic here, right? If you're selling something that is not risky, and all of a sudden you start selling something that you understand can cause damage, talk to your insurance carrier or broker just to make sure that it's covered, that it's not excluded from the policy. That's probably the best thing to do. In many cases, it will not necessarily mean a change in the price of the policy or anything like that, but you want to make sure that you're covered.
Okay, so now you already mentioned that sellers need to choose a partner for them, a service provider that is able to put together the insurance policy for them. So can you give us an overview or some insights how sellers, let's say if a seller is right now already selling on Amazon, they don't have the insurance policy yet, but would like to choose a service provider. So what are usually the first steps, and based on what sellers should make the decision, like in which direction they should go to?
So there are basically 2 or 3 main avenues to get insurance. One, we hear a lot of sellers that are working with their local broker, the one that also does insurance for their house or car. And in many cases, this broker is able to also get insurance for their business. So they work directly with him. So that's one way to go. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. There are some nuances that are important to understand when you do insurance for e-commerce businesses. There are a lot of costs that you can reduce, and a lot of additional coverages that you can add that are relevant to this business. Another option is working on digital channels. So there are a few digital carriers and brokers that are, I would say, they are very effective in finding solutions for e-commerce businesses. In many cases, it can also be at fairly low prices. On the other hand, you know that you get like fully digital service. In many cases, on the other side of the line, there will not necessarily be a person when you need one. So there is a trade-off between, is this something that is this broker someone who knows about e-commerce and what e-commerce needs? And on the other side, there is this digital broker actually going to be there when something happens and I need something? So these are the two main avenues. And at Spott, this is what we actually try to create, something in the middle. So we are fully digital, and we know e-commerce from end to end. This is all that we do. But we have our experts that make sure that if something happens, then you have someone to talk to, someone who can walk you through the process, and again, know the ins and outs of what can happen for Amazon sellers. So this is what we do.
Okay, so it's important that the service provider knows ins and outs of e-commerce and also Amazon specifically to be ordered to cover everything that's needed, right?
Yes, that's correct. In addition, you need to make sure that you work with a carrier that you can trust, right? So you work with carriers that have good history of paying claims, of customer support. So as a customer, make sure that you work with good partners.
Okay, so far everything seems relatively easy to understand and also easy to apply, but how it's in real life, how easy it actually is to choose a service provider and get that policy in place and also upload to Amazon, and can you give us some insights about the costs? Is it like a monthly payment sellers have to consider, or how does it work?
Yes, so there is a full range of prices and of how hard it is to get a policy. Okay, so let's look at three different components of the policy. One is, what are you selling? Okay, so if you're selling something super simple, scarf, for example, it's not going to be a problem. It's probably not going to be expensive. If you're selling fireworks, that's a different story. Okay, the price is probably going to be higher, and you're going to have troubles finding, in many cases, someone who will insure you. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is how much of it you're selling, right? So if you're selling 100 units a year, that's one thing. 2 million units a year, again, a different story, right? The more exposure, at the end of the day, one lawsuit can be $1 million. So the more products of yours out there, the riskier it is, right? So that's the second element. The third one is, are you a private label? Yes or no? If you're not a private label and you're, let's say, a retailer, or you're reselling other products, it's one thing. If you're selling under your own label, that's a different thing. I'll give an example. Let's say, again, I'll use the hair dryer example. If you're selling Revlon, okay, Revlon is a well-known brand and they have insurance and they have quality control. But if I'm selling Amit's hair dryer, no one necessarily knows if anyone checked it or if there was quality control. So if you're a private label, the price is probably going to be higher. In some cases, carriers will say no. So let's talk about the prices for a second. Simplest, easiest products to insure. A typical policy will be around $300 a year. In many cases, you can pay it in installments. So it could be a monthly payment of $28. On the high range, let's say a typical policy will be around $800 a year. And on the high range, we saw tens of thousands of dollars of policies for riskier products. So it can range anywhere in between $300 and a few thousands of dollars. Regarding the payment terms, by the way, so there are two main payment terms, and one that we're actually at Spott launching in a couple of weeks. Upfront payment, so you pay for the entire policy. That's one option. Installments, you can usually pay up to 12 installments and basically split it down to payments. And we are launching pay as you sell, which basically means that you don't pay until you actually sell the products, and only with each and every sale you make, then it counts to how much you need to pay. So I would say that it's a payment method that's much closer to a lot of other products in this e-commerce domain. That's why we're focusing on it.
Okay, seems really good, flexible solution for Amazon sellers. They definitely appreciate that. Very good. Yeah, thank you very much. I know it's always difficult to give a certain cost because, as all Amazon experts always like to say as well, it depends. So it all depends on the products, the sales and everything. But thank you for giving us a brief overview. And yeah, to wrap up, I wanted to ask, like, when sellers now reach out to service providers to get an offer for the insurance, what are kind of the first things they should ask from them or send information about their own business?
So usually they will ask the questions that I just mentioned. So they need to be very clear about what they're selling if someone is asking. If not, in many cases, when you go to providers, they will have a list of exclusions. They will ask, are you selling one of these? They will give you a list of 20 different categories. Actually, you need to read it and go through it and make sure that you answer correctly. And if you answer correctly and everything is in place, then you're absolutely fine. So I would say that this is usually how the process goes. If you are declined, and let's say you sell something that's like I said, fireworks, for example. In this case, you might need to go and find other solution because the out-of-the-box digital solutions will probably not work for you.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And to wrap up this interview, could you once more explain how Spott helps Amazon sellers with the insurance, and also why kind of your solution is a little bit different than the rest of the ones on the market right now?
So we focus on Amazon sellers only, or on e-commerce sellers only. And that means that you can be 100% sure that the policies that we issue are fully compliant with what Amazon requires. We will actually work you through the process of uploading the certificate of insurance, and we will not leave you alone until it's up there and everything is approved by Amazon. We're also working with very trusted insurance partners to make sure that if something goes wrong, then at the end of the line, there is an insurance carrier that's really good and that have very, very good customer support and very good claims management. So when things go wrong, we want to make sure that you have the best coverage possible. And we do it only for e-commerce businesses. So this is how we're basically trying to give the best service possible to our customers.
Okay, good. And what's the best way to learn more about the services you offer, and also to contact you if anyone has any further questions?
So our website is spottme.com or spott.co. These are the two options. In there, you have a way to contact us. By the way, in our blog section on the website, there are a lot of materials about insurance and what you need to look for. And if you want to deep dive and learn more about it, that's a great place to start.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for joining me, and we wish good luck in your business.
Thank you so much.
I hope this video was helpful to understand how does the process of getting liability insurance for Amazon businesses look like, and you will have no problems getting one. If you want to reach out to Spott to help you out with that, find the link in the video description below. And as always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe buttons below this video so we can reach more people with our content. And now I recommend you to watch other video where you will learn how to easily expand your Amazon FBA business to different marketplaces while staying compliant.